Now, we're going to have a great, slightly different session now. I'm going to be interviewing someone, which I love to do. This is, again, courtesy of the connection partnership between Demexco, one of our industry's biggest and most important events in Europe, and MadFest. And the aim is to bring sort of European marketers' viewpoints to the MadFest audience. So we're going to hear from the digital transformation from the global head of media at Montblanc, Maria von Scheel-Plessen, and we're going to be talking about digital transformation and why she thinks it requires new hiring profiles. So Maria, good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thanks.
Thanks for taking the time. Let me just get my questions up. Obviously, I'm just so organised. So we're going to be talking about digital transformation, importantly, sort of new staff profiles, new roles, new people, and that's always a massive issue in this industry. So let's kick off by talking about, first of all, let's talk to you first and find out a bit about you. So you're global head of media at Montblanc. Tell me a bit about what your role actually entails, and I guess importantly, what sort of skills you have to have personally to do the job well.
Sure. Yes, I'm the global head of media and advertising at Montblanc since 4 years now, based in Hamburg, Germany. This contains everything from global media strategy to execution in all of our 22 markets. Besides that, also running projects such as attribution modeling, brand lift studies, awareness tracking studies, strategic budget allocations, and so on. So the field of media itself has become very vast now, and my team consists of display, SEA, and media managers. And my background is actually very much from the tech industry. So I've been working for Amazon, Google, and the startup incubator Rocket Internet. And then now tapping into the luxury industry was for me the first time also in luxury. So previously I've always been working in a lot of marketing communication positions, but very much around tech.
Okay, so let's talk about digital transformation. Obviously, digital transformation is one of the most important things for any brand to be doing. We've seen over the last year, digital transformation efforts arguably have sped up. The pandemic sort of engendered and enabled a lot of change. So when we're looking for talking about roles specifically in the area of digital transformation, what are we looking for here? What sort of people are needed to fill these roles?
So firstly, it's very important that you're looking for someone who has a strong sense of empathy, because transformation requires a constant change. It requires also to bring people on board within the organization. And this requires people from all type of functions, so from HR to leadership teams, to production sites, logistics, marketing, visual merchandising, and so on. So you have to ensure that everyone doesn't see digital transformation as a threat, but rather as an opportunity for the business to move forward and to still be relevant in quite a few years, and to be also applicable towards Generation Y and Z. So I would say empathy is one of the key drivers, together with strong leadership skills. And also agility is very much needed, because you need to understand that the organization you are rebuilding, reshuffling, upskilling people requires a high level also of agility, not set in stone, and you need to have this sort of constant transformation mindset.
And what about Montblanc? What's happening with digital transformation at your own company? What have you seen? How far are you down the line? How far have you still got to go?
So we already went, I would say, across 40 to 50% of the journey. We still have a lot to go in terms of understanding our offline sales. So at the moment, from our high share of digital investments, we are tracking also the impact of offline sales, boutique calls and orders, and so on. So we are now in the phase in which we need to also ensure that our e-commerce is really up to speed, is as consumer friendly and intuitive as possible. And we're also upgrading our tech stack. So this is for me really the fine tuning together with Salesforce for first party data leverage now with the cookieless future ahead. So I would say we're now on the last 50%. And the first part is done in a way that we have risen the awareness of transformation need within the organization itself. We have also changed the team setups, and we also started to hire new functions within the organizations, which we did not have previously.
Now, little talking about people and talent in the digital industry, there's always been a shortage of talent. Now, with the rising importance of data, especially first-party data, and the huge changes caused by the deprecation of third-party cookie, etc., there's a need for data people, really experienced data people at brands. Now, how can the marketing industry attract marketing as a discipline, attract people away from areas such as finance, in particular, which have a propensity to attract skilled data scientists?
So I think one of the key highlights is that you tap into an area of, I would say, a lot of conservative and also legacy companies, which are not necessarily known to be data-driven or digital first. You can be bound by many obligations, infrastructure also from some other companies and so on. So it can be very tricky because we're not IT first, let's say, or not a very technologically driven company. But this also inherits the fact that then you really have a wild card to digitally transform, to explore also different data layers, to start tracking. You are really the one starting things, kicking off things from scratch. And for me, this is a great highlight when going into luxury industry, for example, which is not known to be digitally first, but still you can do a lot of things and have a lot of movements as being a data scientist, for example.
So I talked about skills crisis in digital, probably less of a crisis than it was maybe 5-10 years ago. But where do you see the biggest lack of skills in the marketing industry? We talked about data scientists, but what other areas are we lacking? Where's there a problem in getting the right skilled people in?
So, one part is that PR itself is still an area which is not very much measurable. So we are, I think, lacking employees and people who have a marketing mindset, a communication and creative mindset. At the same time, they inherit data. So we always say they eat data for breakfast. So everything they do, they think about data first. And they don't argument based on taste, but they argument based on facts and numbers. And for me, this is really where I see the core and really highlight for online marketing these days that everything is somehow trackable. And we are missing leaders, managers who also have best of both worlds in their head. So even in PR, to have a mindset of tracking your impact really on the publisher landscape. Same for organic social, which is having a very great significant impact also in the customer journey, but it's very much untracked in many instances. And same also for the global media landscape. So people who really inherit both the analytical and also the creative mindset.
Okay, what about academia? That's right at the other end. Academia, universities and schools, they're the places that fill the talent pool. And again, over the years, there's been accusations that potentially they weren't keeping up with the needs of business. Has this changed, do you think, especially when we come to areas such as data, and digital marketing?
Yeah, I now see more and more combined studies and courses, which inherit both economics, but also analytics. I still see a strong need to further train informatics and make informatics a bit more attractive, I would say, as a topic itself. Because in the end, if you want to really go to a high level in terms of e-commerce, in terms of data-driven knowledge sharing, and also in marketing itself, you need to have a deep understanding of numbers. So for me, a study course which is combining both of these is missing today. And when I have applicants, often they come either purely from fashion, lifestyle study courses, or they come purely from informatics. So if I would have someone, as said, who's combining these two forces, that would be ideal, because then you can really much understand the consumer, be very much consumer-centric, because you understand the industry landscape, the consumer mindset, while at the same time, you can measure all your hypotheses with numbers. And this is where I would see also for the university landscape to speed up a bit and have even more courses in that direction.
Okay, interesting. Now, diversity has been a big theme over the last 2 days here at MadFest, and it's obviously something the industry is grappling with on a day-to-day basis. A lot of the roles we're talking about, tech roles, data roles, tend to be male skewed. How are we going to address this, and get more of a balance? Because obviously, I guess every company from Montblanc, wants a diverse workforce, especially in areas like tech and, areas that are developing products for consumers.
Yeah, so my guideline is that I want to interview at least as many women as men. Often then we also work together with headhunters, even for positions which usually are not on manager or I would say director level, but still it requires really a lot more time to find someone. So if you're in a hurry, then it's often a bit critical, because we usually are in a hurry and we should have had a person starting yesterday. But it's really critical that we do take the time to find a good fit. Secondly, also, we have an internal leadership circle also for women at Montblanc. I also founded one myself after the concept of Sheryl Sandberg from Lean In. And in this one also, we are exchanging on positions with the company, within Richemont itself, so within our mother company, to see also how we can upskill each other and also enhance our networking to ensure we also internally hear about these positions first and they're not being placed again to maybe a male colleague, while also another lady within the company could have had the skill set.
Okay, interesting. Now let's end on the pandemic. I started off open today's conference talking about what the pandemic's done potentially for the positive outcomes for our industry. Things such as flexible working, things that we're often paid lip service to now have become reality. So when we're talking about the right roles for these sort of jobs, the right roles for digital transformation, what roles the pandemic had, do you think, and what role will it have in the year ahead?
So for us, it is very interesting in the luxury industry because you could see luxury as something which is solely a status symbol, but it also has always had a very strong connection to gifting. So gifting also remains relevant in a pandemic. Investing into, I would say, diamonds, rare materials, and so on is also considered as really an investment into the future. So it was also highly relevant during the pandemic. So this is, I think, very nice that the emotional factors around luxury and Montblanc have also re-established themselves. So we've always been very relevant. At the same time, also things like mobile working, more flexibility, agility, and more humanity in our daily business has also really happened. And this is something I'm really, really happy about.
Maria, we're out of time. It was so fantastic to talk to you. So thanks so much for joining us. Have a good rest of the day. Bye-bye.